Semitic truths. Why Jews are not the only Semitic people, and why anti-black racism must be addressed. 2. In a world increasingly divided by political definitions of identity, few terms are as widely misunderstood and selectively enforced as anti-Semitism. In recent years, governments and institutions have signed executive orders to protect Jewish communities from discrimination, sometimes extending even to criticism of the State of Israel. While fighting bigotry is always just, the way anti-Semitism has been defined and weaponized raises serious concerns, especially when it erases other Semitic peoples, many of whom are black. It is time to clarify what it means to be Semitic, and to demand equal recognition and protection for all Semitic descendants, including Afro-Asiatic and black communities that are often excluded from the global conversation. This video explores the true scope of Semitic identity, the consequences of erasure, and the urgent need to apply equal standards when protecting human dignity. What does Semitic really mean? The word Semitic was coined in the 18th century by European linguists to categorize a family of related languages that trace back to the figure of Shem, a son of Noah in the Hebrew Bible. These Semitic languages include Hebrew, Arabic, Amharic, spoken in Ethiopia, Tigrinya, Eritrea, Aramaic, Akkadian, Phoenician, Syriac. This makes it clear, being Semitic has never referred to a single race or religion. It is a linguistic and cultural classification that includes Jews, Arabs, Ethiopians, Assyrians, and many ancient and modern peoples across the Middle East and North and East Africa. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica and linguistic scholars such as Edward Lipinski and John Winogard, the first recorded Semitic civilization was Akkadian, dating back over 4,000 years in Mesopotamia. Long before modern Judaism or Zionism, Semitic people built kingdoms, developed writing systems like cuneiform, and contributed to world civilization. Who gets to be Semitic? The problem of exclusion. Modern political usage of the word Semitic has narrowed drastically, almost exclusively to Ashkenazi Jewish identity, often excluding Arab and black Semitic peoples. This exclusion is both a historical and deeply unjust. Take the Beta Israel, Ethiopian Jews, for example. They practiced Judaism for centuries and claimed descent from ancient Israelites. Despite this, they have faced racism and police violence in Israel, including forced sterilizations in the 2000s and brutal crackdowns during protests against police killings. The case of Hebrew Israelites in the United States is similar. These communities identify with the ancient Israelites in terms of culture, religion, and, in some cases, genealogy. But instead of being embraced in discussions about Semitic heritage, they are often dismissed, marginalized, and labeled extremist without nuance. This reveals a painful truth. The term anti-Semitism is often only selectively enforced, depending on race and political alignment. If protections are extended to some Semitic peoples, they must be extended to black people as well. The weaponization of anti-Semitism. The term anti-Semitism was first used by German nationalist Wilhelm Marr in 1879, ironically to cloak his hatred of Jews in pseudo-scientific language. But today the term has evolved in a way that excludes most Semitic people and often criminalizes political speech, especially criticism of Israel. In the United States, a 2019 executive order under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act defined anti-Semitism so broadly that it included criticism of Zionism and the Israeli government. This blurred the line between legitimate critique of a state and bigotry against a people and opened the door for political censorship. Meanwhile, public figures, especially black ones, have been targeted for speaking on these issues. Malcolm X, Kwame Ture, Louis Farrakhan, and more recently, Kanye West, Nick Cannon, Kyrie Irving and Whoopi Goldberg. Kanye West, Nick Cannon, Kyrie Irving, and Whoopi Goldberg have all been accused of anti-Semitism. Yet their core arguments often centered on black liberation, systemic inequality, or the misuse of history, not hatred of Jewish people. We must distinguish between true anti-Semitism, hatred of Jewish people, and criticism of state policy, historical narratives, or power structures. Otherwise, anti-Semitism becomes a political weapon, not a human rights standard. Shared oppression, anti-blackness, and anti-Semitism. If we are truly committed to justice, we must reject the hierarchy of oppression that privileges some victims while silencing others. Anti-Semitism is real and should be condemned. But so is anti-blackness, which has persisted for centuries through slavery, colonization, mass incarceration, and cultural erasure. When we discuss hate crimes, police brutality, or systemic injustice, black people, especially those with Semitic heritage, are too often excluded from the protective umbrella that is quickly extended to others. It is hypocritical for any government to issue orders combating anti-Semitism while doing nothing about the racism that black Semitic peoples face daily. Ethiopian Jews are Semitic. Arab Palestinians are Semitic. Hebrews, Israelites in America are Semitic. If these people aren't included, then the term is being politically exploited. What needs to change? 1. Restore the full definition of Semitic. Semitic identity is not racial, not religious, but linguistic and cultural. Restore its true meaning in public discourse, education, and legal protections. 2. Protect all Semitic peoples equally. Executive orders must not be written to protect one group while ignoring others who share the same classification. Ethiopians, Arabs, and Afro-Asiatic descendants deserve equal protection. 3. Stop equating political critique with hatred. Criticizing Zionism or Israeli policies is not inherently anti-Semitic. We must distinguish political critique from racial or religious bigotry. 4. Acknowledge black Semitic communities. Governments, media, and institutions must publicly recognize black Semitic peoples, both ancient and modern, in discussions of history, faith, and race. 5. Challenge the media narrative. Educational institutions and media outlets must stop presenting Semitic identity as exclusively white or European. This misrepresentation fuels erasure and reinforces racial hierarchies. Speak truth is not hate. To speak truthfully about history, language, and identity is not hateful. It is necessary. The world cannot move toward justice when facts are ignored and identities are erased for political convenience. Being Semitic is not exclusive to one group. It is a shared legacy stretching from Akkad to Ethiopia, from Jerusalem to Mecca, from ancient Israel to Harlem. To honor that legacy, we must stop using the term anti-Semitism as a shield for some and a sword against others. Justice is not selective, protection is not exclusive, and Semitic identity belongs to more than one people. Subscribe for more long and short content like this.